Now tell us, now tell us, now tell us. Welcome to Now Tell Us. This is your show where we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and inspire us, they come and educate us on a subject. And always we have a wonderful time here because we have wonderful guests who come and join us. Today we are having a great guest known as Elona Lopari. Hi, Elona.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be
Yeah,
here.
it's such an honor to have you here. And we're going to be talking about the seven pillars of building and scaling your business. And I don't want to take one more minute just doing the introduction. We get to know much more about you, Elona, soon. And at this point, I'll ask all the people to subscribe to our channel, to share this with your friends. If you have a question, ask a question. If you have any feedback to give about our podcast, we really appreciate. So let's get into the episode officially. This is Now Tell Us. I'm your host, Anthony Murori, and here we go. Getting started. Where is it you are in the world?
I'm in New York.
New York. It's a wonderful city, a busy one.
True. I'm in one of the boroughs, so it's a little quieter down here.
Oh, okay. That's good. I know that these 2 days have been busy days. You're not busy with the others.
Well, depends what busy is. I don't believe in busy. That's
Yeah.
a term we use to program ourselves to be busy.
Mm-hmm.
I like to live more intentionally.
Yeah.
So I think we all choose the things we focus on. And yeah, no, I'm not busy. I
So
am.
you
I'm in
you
beautiful harmony.
you're not into politics because.
Oh, well, that okay. Well, that's, again, I've learned in my experience to control the controllables, the
Hmm.
things that I get to focus on. I voted early in the morning. So, control the things that I can control. And by just using my voice and the power that I have, I was able to, cast my vote. But other than that, it's bigger than us, right? So that's kind of how I like to take a look at things.
Wow, I love that. Control the controllables. Yeah, and it's good to be connected to you this wonderful day. And we've got much to cover in such a short time, so I won't take much more time. But maybe you can tell our listeners, our viewers, who is you, and let's get to know a bit about you.
Yeah, let's do it. So, natively, I'm from Albania. Moved to New York specifically when I was only 15, many years ago now, and climbed the corporate ladder. Pretty much started to chase the American dream. One of the things that my parents struggled with was to obviously bring us to new opportunities. I grew up very fast, was the oldest child. So I did much of the translating all those challenges that I saw my parents have at the beginning. So very early on, I was pretty much set up to achieve. So that's kind of what I did: chase the dream, achieve, be an overachiever. Because again, it was a country with a lot of opportunities. So especially for my father, it was very early instilled in me to be able to do that. So that's kind of what I did. I climbed the corporate ladder 15 years, married my husband, grew a family, bought a home, did all the societal things that we thought that would give us security and safety. And it worked out for that many years until my company was bought by another company. And then I climbed all the way to the C-suite and realized that I was not happy because a company changes culture from purpose to profit driven. So I was able to take a look at the shift, and I was no longer really happy with the work I was doing or where I was. So that's kind of was the catalyst for me to explore new options. And I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur, but because I've already worked for another company, I said there's must be another route that I can take because I know I have lots of experience and skills that I've gained over the years. So let me see what entrepreneurship would kind of bring on for me, especially because I get to choose the work that I wanted to do in the world and get the freedom, obviously, that most entrepreneurs go into entrepreneurship for. And fast forward, I've been an entrepreneur now for over 5 years, still focusing on the areas where I was always strongest at, meaning business and leadership. Those are the things that I've been able to add the most value over the years for the company I work for also for the entrepreneurs I've been able to support. And now my bigger mission is to help them align their purpose and profits and choose their purpose, much like I did, their calling, gather their life experiences in service towards others, but ensure that they're building a profitable, sustainable company that is independent from them, that is self led, and can be left as a legacy, can be exited from, or can be used as a philanthropy channel.
That's so wonderful. What has been your biggest challenge on the journey, if I may start there? Because I believe I mean, we cannot tell that it's something that you're loving, but then there must be some challenges that you faced along the way.
Yeah, I mean it's the uncertainty piece because there's a lot of work, inner work that I've had to do, mindset work that I've had to do, and so much investments with other mentors program. Places where I've been able to align myself with investments I made in me as the founder and as the CEO of my company, so that then I can make the right decisions to move the things forward that were important to me. So I think the biggest challenge has been, navigating an uncertain territory or an uncharted territory where you seem to be the first person kind of walking the path, even though obviously businesses have been built for years. It's not a really unknown area, but in the days that we're living in, you can't even operate in the ways traditional businesses operated in because of kind of where we're going with technology. So I think it's the uncertainty. At the beginning, I had lots more challenges because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I had a lot of coming from corporate. I was, needed to shift into investment mindsets and working backwards. As an entrepreneur, you're always working 90 days backwards, and I didn't know that. I thought like I did something and I got a result. So it's been a lot of that, and also understanding the bigger map of the business growth and where I was in the different phases and stages, and what was the right business model that was going to support me in the stages. Because lack of cash flow is usually one of the main problems that we all face as entrepreneurs. So the challenge was to always make sure that that was steady, growing, scaling, building a strong foundation, so then I could bring in the right systems, the right people on board, and all of those things that are needed to be able to scale at the next level. So I say mindset, cash flow, inconsistent cash flow, and then not knowing what I don't know.
And those are main key, I mean, they're key areas for many people who are going starting on a business. And I usually say that I may not be the first person who is doing this, but for me, it's my first time. So I may not know anything that is to be known about this. And this is why we have books, we have a podcast. This is why we have you here, because you've been through that. You've faced the challenges, you've overcome them, you've learned things that you've learned, and we welcome you to now tell us what it is that you've learned and what it is that people can benefit from you through the experiences that you've been through. And before we go deeper into the seven pillars, I just want to thank Alice. Hi, how are you? And anybody who could be watching us there, we appreciate your presence here. And if you have a question, once again, ask. If you have a comment, we love uh, our audience. Thank you very much. Now, through the experience that you've had, the challenges that you've overcome, maybe you can dive us into the seven pillars. Let's hear them. Just go one by one. If we have some, yeah, just go by one by one.
Yeah, I mean, the first one is branding, right? Aligning our vision, mission, and values with the work that we want to do in the world and how we want to get known, right? Because one of the biggest challenges and also the most important pieces of business is to build trust, right? To build our name, to get known, to go to the people that we want to serve. So that would be the first pillar, learning how to brand ourselves, whether it's our personal brand. I work in the service space. That is my specialty. So sometimes personal brand and company brands do become diluted because you have a service. So usually you're the face behind the brand or behind the service that you're able to offer. So it gets a little weary in the scaling piece, but obviously not impossible. That's why I love the industry so much. So branding would be first, then marketing would be the second piece. Understanding again how all of these connect together. Sales will be the third one. Understanding how marketing should feed into sales, and then doing the systems part, and then the team. So systems and team would be the last two pillars, because unless we understand how all of these feed into each other and they all connect together, it's very easy into entrepreneurship when we're building a company that we're working on a million things parallel. Sometimes they seem parallel, but people don't always understand how all of these connect together. And then when they are taking the actions that they need to take in their day-to-day operations of their business, they don't always understand how their branding is feeding into their marketing, how their marketing is feeding into their sales, how to create the right systems, and then how to bring in and grow a team. So over my experience, I've been able to clarify the most foundational pillars that are needed. Doesn't matter where your business is, day one or day a million, and it doesn't matter what stage of growth that you are currently in. With strong foundations, you could build something that's sustainable.
Hmm. Yeah, talk about branding and maybe the challenge that we have in maybe differentiating between your brand and the company brand. Uh, what would you advise someone who is just getting started on how to work on their brand? How do I set myself up? Is it the business that takes the forefront, or is it my name that takes the forefront, or and which is the benefit of either?
Well, at the beginning, it's you in the forefront, right? Because nobody cares about your business unless they know about you, especially if
Mm-hmm.
you have a service. So it's always you in the forefront. I would say that the biggest focus that I've seen is to understand what is your business model, who is your market, and what are the marketing channels. When you understand that, then the rest of the branding, especially at the beginning, it becomes easier because then it's about how can I add value, right? Don't think about branding, it's a big word. Think about how can you be in service? How can you add value? So if you have clarified that your market and your marketing channels is LinkedIn, for example, how is it that you can start adding value there? What can you share with people that might be helpful to them? What can you set up, much like this, a podcast, or can you, create posts on social media, or start creating some videos, right? Sharing is caring. I've seen the biggest brand builder is always service, and being of value towards other people. Because at the end of the day, if you want to build human relationships, which is all about business, is all about that, then you want to be helpful to others, right? Without asking for anything in return. So especially at the beginning, there's got to be a lot of giving before you ask
Mm-hmm.
for something in return. However, everything is intentional. So, knowing how to focus on all these right channels and how to build people, bring people through what I call the prospect journey. This is what I help my clients with, crafting what a prospect journey looks like. What are those steps that somebody takes from they first saw you all the way to turning into a client? Um, Understanding that is important too, because then you just don't want to, you're not going to give forever, because then you're building a brand out of that and you're going to run out of funds or profits or sales or cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
But just to answer it very simply, to me, branding is all about showing up, staying consistent, and building trust and adding value. Those are usually the pillars of branding. If I were to just, do A, and then B is always authority, right? Building the perception and the authority piece, which happens over time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the beginning, it's hard to even find your voice unless you actually show up and you actually do some of these things. The more you talk about what you do and why you do it and add value towards others, then you can start to niche a little bit. You can start to kind of ask those questions. Well, what makes me different from other people? What is the one thing that I really want, care about? If I were to focus on that one thing, these are more things that happen naturally, eventually. And that usually is the next piece of branding, standing out, raising the perception of who you are, building trust over time, and then ensuring that you get sort of, that influence from other venues that already have that authority built, such as maybe going into other people's platforms, getting featured somewhere, going on a media interview, going on other places, which will only obviously raise the perception of you being a thought leader,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody that knows their stuff, right? I don't like the
Yeah.
word expert because when you think of an expert, it's like you're done learning and somebody's already learned everything. But somebody, a guide, a trusted guide that knows their stuff and can now help you with the problem they want to solve for other people.
Hmm. Let's go a bit back to the challenge that you had, which was the second challenge that you had, which was capital, and yeah, or rather financing your business. How you overcame that, and how someone can overcome that.
Hmm. Great question. So I funded my business all on my own, meaning that I would focus on activities that brought in the cash flow, and then I would continue to scale it like that. There's many channels. Maybe there's people that can, finance your business, right? And that's a different conversation. But in my experience, I build it pretty much from scratch or from experience. One of the biggest things that I do with my clients too, I focus on quality rather than quantity, especially if you're at the beginning of your business. I mean, everything else is going to be the same anyway. So why not focus on a big problem that you could solve and charge really well for that and focus on quality rather than quantity of clients? Meaning, you don't need a million clients to meet your revenue goals at the end of the month if you really have a solid process, a solid structure, a transformation that you're able to provide, rather than solving small problems which require more people to be able to come through your doors through your marketing and your sales efforts. So that's kind of how I've been able to do it, and I still focus on the same business model. Obviously, the strategy changes when you are at scale because as you remove yourself from some of the process of service delivery, I call it, delivering the service you're promising towards other people, then
Mm-hmm.
you can go eventually into more of a volume business model, meaning you can sell to more people, but now you've built all the foundations. At the beginning, you don't even have enough of the pieces built yet. So you don't, it's going to be very hard to just focus on selling a $20 thing or $100 thing because you need to have a lot of people that you're going to be able to even make, I don't know, whatever monthly goal revenue that you have. So I have learned in my experience that it's wiser, more efficient, but also creates bigger transformations when you just focus on that one main problem that you could solve and then just worry about systematizing it process wise so that it gives people the results. And you charge, compared to the result and the way that it changes people's lives, and you remove yourself from the equation with pricing, 'cause that could be a whole other conversation. People are always underpricing themselves, especially in the service space.
Hmm. That's good. Now we have a coach who is thinking of growing his business or her business in such a way that apart from just what he's been making on a monthly basis, I mean, he finds himself or herself at a plateau and says, I would want to increase this business. I would want to have more income or more money at the end of the month. How do you go about this in the best way? I mean, because this is a service delivery service, I mean, a business, and you want to scale it. Which is the best way to go about this?
Yeah, I would always start with taking a look at their operations, what they
Mm,
already are doing inside the business, because everybody always worries about going outside, which we're going to go out, but let's first make sure that your in home, the home is working well, and your in house things that you're doing are working well, and
mhm,
also that your business model is able to support your scaling, right? Because it's very common that you've been able to offer a certain service because you're probably the only one there or had a couple of people to support you. but that's no longer viable because you only have 24 hours a day and now you have volumes of customers. So it's a good problem to have, and which is a problem that happens to scaling. But then that's why you want to take a look at your business model and take a look at how you can restructure it so that you're still able to give results, but maybe offer the service in a different way. So taking a look at the business model is always a smart thing to do because that's pretty much the foundations of your business. I mean, what brings you money? It's the way the people, your clients, are paying you. So that's always the big elephant in the room. And then, like I said, the second piece I take a look at is in the house. What are some of the operations that are working, that are not working? What can we streamline? What can we cut, savings on? What can we save as far as time is concerned? And then the third one is the marketing strategy. Take a look at the marketing channels currently used. How are those producing results? And then looking at that, and then adding new channels. If obviously you still want to focus on the your current market, find new ways to reach them. If it is viable for you to reach new markets, obviously craft another strategy to be able to do so and put the right tools, people, and resources to do that. So it's more of a strategy that you take a look at that point, looking at what are the things that might be missing or what are the gaps, and then implementing the strategy from there.
Strategy. And I'm looking at this branding, which also interconnects with the marketing, and then we have the different platforms or different ways of being visible out there. Which is the current one that you would suggest, or which are the top ones that you would suggest people who are getting started on their business or want to scale their business? Which would you suggest that we be on?
I think that would depend on who your market is.
Mm-hmm.
Your market will dictate that answer. So depending on who you want to help and what is the business model you have, then you want to decide where those people are hanging out. Now, again, if you are more into business to business, LinkedIn is very powerful for that and it's up and coming. But I've seen tons of people have success on TikTok, right? Or on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
um, or on Facebook if you're more of a community, if you have more of a community style service or business. So all the platforms obviously require strategy, require energy, require, all the pieces for you to put your energy behind why you're doing what you're doing. But I would say the easy answer is always where are the people that you want to help? And that's, you got to go there to them. It's not about where you would like to be, it's where they are, so that you can go and do what I said at the beginning, go add value, go show up, go expose yourself in front of them so they could, build know, like, and trust with you, and you can build relationships. I've always looked at all these channels just like personal life. Now obviously we can meet more people and we can connect with more people, but at the end of the day, the logic is the same. The more people know you and they trust you, the more obviously you're going to get opportunities, whether it's your new clients or whether it's opportunities for partnerships or all other things that are necessary. So I would say very simply, know where your people are and go show up there.
Know where your people are and go show up there. In the past 1 year or so, there has been this very hot topic everywhere, and especially now in business. And I would maybe we would want to know your personal experience with AI. What's your experience with AI so far?
AI is great for research. From based on how I use it, I use it very intentionally, meaning I don't overuse it or abuse it, because right now we have the problem where your voice is being compromised. Is it AI or is it you? So I think for research purposes is very good, for you to streamline some of your marketing and your sales processes. Obviously, it's very good. A lot of the platforms, especially with systems, if you're using systems, your CRMs, your email list, all your back office, I call it, like the back door of the business.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of things that we can do, obviously faster with AI to reach people and to do all those things. But I'm always careful that it's not conflicting with kind of the human part of the work that we do or the companies that we run, because then what's the point? So that's kind of how I think about it. Obviously, it's here. It's moving faster than we can think of, and we just need to, always be learning and growing in this area as well. And yeah, I mean, it's moving very fast. A lot of people have to even adapt their business models towards it, because the more you know about it, the more you know how to adapt, so that you're offering something that's a unique value proposition. But as far as branding is concerned, it can hurt your brand. Because I see a lot of people posting just like straight things from AI, like you just putting something on there, and it just, how it gives you like those steps and stuff. So training it and all of that, it's smart to do, but don't just spit out whatever it's telling you, because then it's like you might not as well have posted that if it's not your own authentic voice or your own thoughts about something, because then you're just adding to the noise. You're
Mm-hmm.
not doing any good to your brand, to your personal trust with people as well. Because people start to tune you out, right? I can go also chat GPT this, like, why would I listen to you, or why would I connect with you? What
Mm-hmm.
is that human thing that you're offering? So I always go back to authenticity. When people go this way, it's usually in business good to go the other way. So, even though most people are gonna go, and follow and do all the things they see, but follow your. I'm big on intuition and authenticity. Follow, what is a thing that you really are compelled to be able to do. But stay authentic. That's the only power we have over AI.
Yeah.
Creativity and authenticity. The rest, you can do all the processes we can do, and even better than humans, right? So, we just have to reshift our values, I think.
So it's not coming to take our jobs and our businesses, in
Well,
your
it
perspective.
might, and we might have to figure out other solutions. It's going to be a crisis for purpose then, right? Because as humans, if we're used to doing all those things and now we can't, we go into my work, which is more the purpose side, which is more the inner work and inner development stuff that happens. I think that could be a crisis for humans to figure out, like, what's my purpose now, right? That's why now we're going more in the being, I believe, as people. We're going into the more in the spiritual realm, because if obviously a lot of the doing will be replaced, and we've been like human doings for so many years,
Yeah.
getting into the being, creativity, curiosity, all these other things that we have inside of us, we haven't really had a chance to tap into those. So maybe that will be the new thing we focus on. I think that's really, really good. It's amazing to be able to focus on that other side, which I have learned as an entrepreneur. When I was working for corporate, this stuff to me seemed very like foreign language, because I was just, again, programmed to do and to achieve and to be productive and to be efficient. So, yeah, I see a crisis in purpose coming up for all of us, which is really important to do that inner work. That's where it's all at.
And it's good that you bring that up. Someone said that we are human beings, not human doings. So we come back to whom we really are at some point. Now, let's know about those people who are listening to you or watching you right now. What's the process of working with you so that they can connect with your authentic self, for them to also connect with their authentic selves?
Well, first, it always starts with a conversation. So
Yeah.
my website is the best hub. They can go to lonaloparicoaching.com. I have a few resources on there that I put together,
Hmm.
that they can, take a look at. And then let's get on a conversation, right? Based on kind of what they're looking for, what is their main pain point or problem. And I'm able to offer some of the things that I've built over time, whether it's my done for you consulting or done with you consulting or other products that I've put together. it's all based on where people are and what will best serve them. But unless I understand where they are in the journey, then obviously I can't offer a specific solution. So it would begin with just a conversation, and on my website, they'll have a chance to connect further besides all the social media channels that we're on.
Okay, thank you for that. So, everyone who's listening or watching, head over to eronaroparicoaching.com and connect with Erona for much more. We are almost coming to the end of this episode today, and we really appreciate you, Erona, for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I enjoyed the conversation. I hope your audience took away some really good value from it as well.
This is what we believe, that they have gained some insights, some value, and that's why we're asking you for comments. Please tell us if you watch this. Tell us what you enjoyed. Tell us, add even more insight into what we shared today. We appreciate your participation. Thank you very much. So before we go, Erona, we always ask our guests to leave us with something that we should never forget. Which is that for Erona?
Well, always remember that you have a bigger purpose of why you're here, and then using entrepreneurship as a channel to realize your purpose and to be of service towards others um, is the one thing that we all have available nowadays. So use it wisely. Don't quit in the journey. The journey of building anything, it's always obviously a challenging journey, but the transformation that somebody goes through is immense, and it will be the thing that you will keep forever because you will never go back to the old version of you. And one last message I always kind of learned from my experience is connecting the dots, meaning you always got information from the universe around you. So as long as you are quieting your mind and you're listening to that insight and intuition, use that because that's going to be a great compass or guide in the journey of entrepreneurship, which, like I mentioned, might be scary at times or might be very lonely at times as well. So, those are things all there to guide you in the journey. And yeah, as long as you're connected to it, it's going to be so much easier to go through the pains and the challenges that you will overcome for sure. No one I've ever met, the journey has never been linear, it's always zigzag. So, understanding how to go through those, right? Those different zigzags, it's where resilience and grit is actually built.
That's very good. So it's never a straight line. It's ups and downs, learning, experiencing, and gaining uh, more insight day by day. Thank you very much. We appreciate that sharing.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, and thank you, all our viewers or our listeners. Even if you get to watch this or listen to it after we are through, we thank you really, really, really much. And yeah, this has been Now Tell Us. And until next time, I have been your host, Anthony Murore. And together with our guest, wonderful guest, Elona Ropari, we are saying bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.